It's Valentine's Day, and around here we're celebrating with matching Kid and Me outfits. Let me show you. I'm Madi with Madi Sews, and welcome back. So you all, Talisha and I actually decided to collaborate and make ourselves some matching Kid and Me outfits for Valentine's Day. And if you don't know who Talisha is, you definitely need to check her out because she's doing her own video with these matching outfits. And you can find her over at CreativiTeeByT. I'm going to put a link to her video in the description box below to make it super easy. So we decided that for Valentine's Day, we were going to make ourselves this pattern here. And this is Simplicity 8840. And I opted to make view D, which is the view that she's wearing here with all of the pleats in it. And for my kid, I decided that I was going to make him this Butterick 6025. It's a vintage pattern that I'm absolutely in love with. And I made him the pants version here. I got him some suspenders, and then I paired it with a t-shirt that I attached a tie to. And for the tie, I used this pattern, which is Simplicity 8180. Let me just show you some pictures before I get into all of the pattern details. Okay, so for all of these looks, I used two of my Florida collection. Actually, they're Ruby Star fabric. They're all cotton, and I think it's their Florida collection that I picked up from Three Little Birds. And I guess I'll just go ahead and start with my son's looks because I really want to go into detail on the top that I made for myself. So for the pants, I used Butterick 6025, and when I was looking at the actual measurements for my child, he was just outside of this pattern range, like the size range that they have printed on the back of the envelope here. So what I went ahead and did was I slashed and spread both the front and back leg patterns, and I spread it about a good 1/2 inch on each. And then I made sure to do it on the front piece. The back of his pants actually folds over and you create a casing, and so it has elastic in the back. Because it does have a flat front, with the two buttons, I did have to take those two pieces on both sides of the fly actually, and spread that an additional 1/2 inch to give him the space there, so that way it matched up with the front. I'm gonna admit, I was rushing a bit to get these done because I was kind of up against the wire on it. So if I were to make these again, what I would end up doing is making him the straight four. There was actually enough ease to fit him nicely. And so I kind of wish that I hadn't put in that extra 2 inches worth of space overall, but it's okay. I can go back in and remove some of that from the side seams and he'll be fine. For his top, I actually wanted something that was a little more casual than a button-down top. So I went ahead and I just purchased a white t-shirt for him and I attached the tie. Too bad he drooled chocolate all over it. Now let's talk about my top. I'm gonna put a picture up here so that way you can check it out. I actually cut a size 16 at the top. So the collar piece was a 16 in through the shoulders because I tend to be more narrow up here. But because I have a large chest and hips, I actually ended up grading all the way out to the largest size that they had. Now something that kind of caught me off guard with this pattern was I went into this pattern thinking that I was going to have to do a full bust adjustment and really kind of like spread these pleats together, make adjustments in them. And when I looked at the pattern, it was kind of strange because they had all of the set pleats, but then they graded out on the sides, which I have to tell you, I'm not exactly excited about, because I feel like the larger you go and you're grading out, the smaller your pleats end up looking. So if you're a size 6 making this, sure, your pleats are going to look really big and beautiful like that. But if you're making a size, let me see, the largest size that this goes is to a size 22 with a 44-inch bust. First off, it's not really big, inclusive sizing, but if you're making a 22, your pleats are going to look much smaller in comparison to the size 6. So if I were to make this top again, I think I would go with my original thought of actually doing the full bust adjustment, rotating out that extra fullness into the pleats instead of kind of grading out on the sides the way I did, to basically just give me a little bit more space. There's also some really nice back darts. I wouldn't call them fisheye darts because they actually do go all the way down to the hem of the garment. So I'm not sure what kind of dart this is, but it's nice because it gives you the option to really do some good fitting around there. Now, you may actually see some really strange drag lines coming out from around my collar. You all, that is entirely my fault. I totally messed it up. I got lazy. I was sewing against a deadline and, well, I messed up the collar piece. So when I was attaching the collar, for some reason, I felt like I was going to need some extra space to actually flip it over and do all the fun bits to it. And so I had overlapped the edges of my collar, you know, by probably a good almost half an inch on each side, and I eased in the rest of it. That's not what this pattern calls for. Like, the collar's supposed to fit on there pretty nicely without having to like ease in anything. And so because I ended up having to ease in all that extra fabric, I'm getting some pretty strange drag lines. It is what it is. I'll live with it. But I will definitely be making this top again, and I won't be repeating that mistake again. After I had the top constructed and I tried it on, I actually felt that there was overall a little bit too much volume in the sides. I had to remove it around the waist. And that, I think that's just 100% personal preference on this one. I also had to go in and remove a whole bunch of extra fabric in the back. I ended up having to take out an additional 4 inches of fabric around those, around the darts. And for all of the ladies out there who have big boobs like I do, let me just tell you that after putting this top on, I felt that I needed my best bra that brought the ladies all the way up and minimized it, just to get them to kind of like sit where this top still looked nicely and not make it look like my boobs were down at my waist. I didn't want my boobs sitting too close to this little line right here. It's not a good look. And honestly, that's another change that I would make to this pattern when the next time I actually make it. I would add a little bit more length to the torso area above all of this stuff that's going on right here, because I absolutely do really need that length there, which is odd because I feel like I tend to be really short-waisted in other patterns, but this one I would make that change in. And I felt like overall this top was much shorter than I had expected it to be, so I just serged the edges. I didn't turn up the hem because I kind of felt like I just really needed all of the length possible. Overall, I do really love this top, and I especially love the fabric that I used with it. And I love that I'm coordinating with my kit. I will go back in and remove some of that excess volume out of my son's pants, but I'm really pleased with the entire looks. So those are my Valentine's Day outfits that I made for my kid and me. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to check out Talisha's with CreativiTeeByT, well, her video, because she's not only making an extra little something for one little boy, but for 2. And so that's going to be really fun. Well, if you're still hanging with me, thank you so much. I hope that you're having a wonderful Valentine's Day and that you're treating yourself, your loved ones, your little ones, whoever that may be. Just make it a special day. And until next time, I sincerely hope that you find joy and have a wonderful day. Bye. What is it?
No.
Why don't you open it?
Wow. Chocolate.
That's right. It's chocolate. Do you want some?
Yeah. This is a square chocolate. Can
Yummy.
you eat it?
Yeah, you can eat it. Oh man, I got the pink one. There, you want the rest?
Okay.
You're so goofy. Oh no, you got chocolate all over.